Bias is really serious in medicine. You prejudge a patient, you think you know something that you don't know, and next thing you know, your individual bias could be conscious, could be unconscious, could be something you grew up with, it could be something that you just learned, might wind up hurting that particular patient. So, as a now board certified dermatologist, I am well aware of what bias has done to me in my medical career. When I was a medical student, I was at SUNY, that's State University of New York Health Science Center at Brooklyn. Now, I was told that I shouldn't even think about being a dermatologist, that I was reaching way too high, that I was lucky I got into med school. I'm kind of thinking to myself, huh? I worked hard to get in here. I was told this by a trauma surgeon, and I was told that I should do what good young Black women do and just go into pediatrics or family practice. That reaching for a subspecialty like dermatology was way, way too much for me to even think about doing. This guy was 6'5", easily 280. I'm only 5'6". I'm not telling you my weight, and I was not arguing with him. So I looked at him with a blank stare, and I thought to myself, he is so biased, and I'm going to show him. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is we doctors need to meet and greet our patients with open and honest and caring hearts, and be prepared to do what is the best for them at all times. We need to take the bias out of each and every situation and just focus on what the patient is asking you, what the patient needs, what the patient's symptoms are, and what the desired outcome is. We don't need to let bias enter the picture at all. When I was in my medical school days, we'll say, I would come into the room dressed like I am now. White coat, professional dress, professional hair, jewelry, and introduce myself as the medical student taking notes before the doctor came in the room. They would instantly think I was food service, a nurse, many, many, many times housekeeping, even though I would say I was a medical student. That's patient bias, so patients can be biased also. I think that in this world where everyone has their unique perspective, is what I like to call it, we need to roll back on our unique perspective, look at the patient for who they are, that is, somebody in need of our assistance, in need of our expertise, and ultimately in need of our help. Take out all of our preconceived notions and focus on them. Honestly, medicine would be practiced more fairly. When we look at healthcare disparities, bias hurts people who the doctor, if they are that doctor's ethnic origin, then they might not be particularly biased. But if they're not that individual doctor's ethnic origin, then they might be biased. So that is an issue. And so when it comes to the individual patient, what I do is I listen carefully, I take notes, I re-ask them questions, I direct the conversation, and we kind of go from there. Now, you can't connect with every patient, but you can connect with a lot of them. I try my best to connect with every single patient. It just helps in terms of engaging them, in terms of the treatment plan, in terms of what their responsibilities are at home, and in terms of what their follow-up is. So it's simple, sounds simple, but many times the patient's nervous. They're talking a mile a minute. They have their own biases they're dealing with. They have stress because they might be ill. They might not be ill, but they might feel like something is coming on. They just don't know. So we as the medical professionals, the physicians in the situation, we need to handle that. So last thoughts on this. When I see a patient that is not me. So what do I mean by not me? I don't mean that's a different race. I mean, not me. Like a patient that smokes a lot. I smoked for a week in 8th grade. I really liked it. I'd never do it again. So if I see a patient that smokes, I'm encouraging them not to smoke, but in a kind, non-biased, non-judgmental way. If I see a patient that's overweight, and this is a big one, we doctors can be very bad when it comes to overweight patients. I'm kind about it. I try to explain to them that when my parents got divorced, I gained 45 pounds, and I'm only 5'6". I looked redunculous, in the words of my 15-year-old. I looked awful. I did not look healthy. I did not look fit. And I did not look like I should be the one giving anybody else professional medical advice when I was so overweight. A drain on my heart, a drain on my knees, all of it. So I went to Weight Watchers, I lost the weight, and I'm very conscious about exercising. I actually over-exercise 7 days a week. And I try my best to watch what I eat because I still love sugar. I will just put that out there on my bias YouTube. I think that doctors in general need to connect with patients that are overweight, sympathize with them, and explain to them how they could be doing better. So I think sympathy and empathy with patients that are not like us, that smoke too much, that drink too much, patients that eat too much, sympathy and empathy, I think will help us work with our patients to become better doctors, to become better people, and to become our best selves so we can help our patients from all different ethnic backgrounds and from all different habit backgrounds be better. So I think that's what it's all about. So I want to stress to any healthcare professional, especially my fellow doctors that are watching this, take your bias out. It's hurting your patients. Focus on what they need, who they are, and what your treatment plan is, and then go from there. And especially if you feel like you have nothing in common with that patient, try to just find something in common. Trust me, that'll be a better thing for all of us. Quite frankly, myself included. Because when my patients grow and they learn, I grow and I learn. If we physicians do better, then the entire health of America can and will do better. It's simply that important.